previously mentioned on numerous occasions that once the greenhouse in the garden is cleared by decommissioning the vitapods, the bench base created, I want to build my own version of a wicking system, primarily to grow chillies and peppers. About 4 or 5 years ago, me and another guy on the site, we lashed up a quick system for him to grow tomatoes, which was a wicking system, and that proved very successful. There's quite a few people now on YouTube doing their own systems for wicking, which are quite good, but I want to do my own twist on it, so I hope you join me. Just a word of warning, this is not going to be filmed in one continuous shot, so this will be filmed over a number of days, possibly weeks, but hopefully the continuity will continue and you'll be able to see the end result. And this is one of the containers in question. In total there'll be 2 of these. Been quite a challenge to get something suitable. 2 of these side by side actually fits the bench totally. Very little wasted space. I could easily find the size but not the depth, and eventually I came across this one. This is made by a company called Garland. I'll put the details on the screen. I actually purchased this one from Garland and another one via a website, a third-party trader, and it was actually cheaper than going direct to the company. However, so this does the trick with the depth, and there's 2 of these. These are the pots that I'll be using. In total there'll be 8 in each tray, so that's a total of 16. I'm not exactly sure of the capacity of these. I would guess they're around about 8 litres, but I'll put the dimensions, there's some dimensions on the bottom, I'll put those on the screen. The other major component for this system is to find some sort of lid to sit on top of the trays in which the pots can go on. Now originally I was thinking about using aluminium, but I was fortunate to come across a large piece of acrylic sheet, and this is what I've got. Believe it or not, this was about to be thrown out and I was happy to salvage it. It's about 2 meters square and it's about 6 millimeters thick, and it's an acrylic sheet, as I said before. This will be ideal for creating the tops for the 2 trays. Because this is a wicking system, we need to transfer the water from a reservoir up through the pot to the plant, and for that we'll be using capillary matting cut into little strips. Now the hole pattern on the bottom of this pot at the moment doesn't allow that, so what we need to do is to open a couple of these holes out. The ideal tool for drilling this, in fact anything with a thin wall, is one of these, and this is called a step drill, and this currently ranges from 4 millimeters up to 32. You can get them in different increments, and so it's ideal for doing something like this. The perfect situation, you'd actually sit this down something flat, give it maximum support around the hole you're drilling and drill through there, but unfortunately we can't get the drill in here, so we're going to have to do it from this way. The secret is to go slowly and gentle, not too fast, because you can actually split it. So if you just go, start it off nice and slow. If you can see there, that's made a lovely job of it. So there we have the tops cut to size now. think about sorting the pots out. These are the pots as we saw before. The plan is to have 4 in line and 2 rows, so that's 8 per tank, and there's 2 tanks, so I want to keep them identical. This acrylic here has got a protective paper covering on. I'm to leave that until the last minute, because any marking out I do on here, it'll be easy to see. So looking at these tanks now, you've got the 2 holes in to feed the capillary matting. Now I can put them straight on there, mark through and drill a hole. But what I've decided to do, I'm actually going to cut a slot out for the pots. And there's 2 reasons or 2 benefits I can see from that. Firstly, if we've got the capillary matting here, it comes out the pot. Anything in contact with that, it's likely to put a moisture barrier across the top here, and you'll get seepage. And the other benefit is, by cutting the slot in here, sinking that down, it'll actually trap the pot and keep them more stable. Another bonus of these pots, if you can see it there, they have tapered sides. So by creating the profile in this top plate here, the tighter we can get it, the more stable that'll be, with less evaporation as well. But rather than cut directly into the top surface here, what I'm going to do is cut a hole in this cardboard and use this as a template. I'll cut slightly bigger, and obviously that will rise slightly up the sides of the pot. But doing that, I can actually tittle the sides until I get the exact fit I want, and then go around and mark that profile around, knowing its exact shape all the way around. So there we have it. Here's the pot. As you can see, that just sinks below the level, if they can see that there. It doesn't matter if this is below into the water level, because we'll have some substrate in the bottom of there. The soil will actually start about here, but we'll discuss that more when we come to fill the pots. That's the 8 stations marked out, ready for cutting out. The only other addition is that I've added a little spot there. I'll probably put a little filling hole in there with a bung later on. But at this stage now, I'm just going to mark the other one out and do the cutting all in one go. I've added the hole in here, and I use that actually for filling the container, and put a bung in there once that's done. What I've started doing now, I've put in holes in the inner profile here, and that there will be used as a feed for the jigsaw to cut out this shape. I've just flipped the unit upside down now. It's easy to do it from this way. Not sure if you can see, I'll put a little mark there. And what I'm going to do is drill a 7mm hole through, and this will be at both ends. And the idea of that is, when it's in situation, I can pop a little bolt through, a 6mm nylon bolt or something through there, and it'll hold the top place in situation and stop it sliding. So that's it, both of them done. Unfortunately, there's no footage. I did film actually cutting at least part of this out with a jigsaw, but when I come to transfer it onto the computer, there was an error reading the card. And in closer inspection, there was a hairline crack across the card, which rendered it useless. Anyway, I've got a new card in the camera, and these are all done. We're ready to crack on. So now we'll have a look at the method we're going to actually use for the wicking. This is a piece of capillary matting that I've got from a purchase system that I used, and it does work good. I was a bit queried at first with this tapered on the edge, and I did a bit of research, and I found that what that is, that actually sticks in the pot part, and because the shape is tapered, it takes less water right to the top surface, doing one of two things. It stops the surface getting too wet, which will make it'll go green, and secondly, because there's more water the further you go down here with greater surface area, it encourages the roots to go down. And because of that, that's the method I'll be using to produce mine. I've got similar capillary matting. There's quite a lot of different brands and types, some thick wadding, but the best I've used, and I had success quite a lot, and it does last a long time, is this stuff which is white on the back and green on the front. So first of all, I laid this out and created a pattern to maximise the space on the matting. One word of warning, I used the back for actually marking the pattern out, but it is better to cut this with a sharp blade from this side, because I find even with a keen blade it does actually tear. So I'll just show you what I've actually done with this template. With 32mm holes in the bottom of the wicking pots, I decided to make the matting 120mm wide, and by staggering the pattern I was able to maximise the space. And as if by magic, here's some I did earlier. The system I got, which is purchased, has actually only got one hole in the bottom, but mine has got two in. The reason I decided on that, with the wick coming up one side, inspecting the roots after I'd finished with the plant, I noticed there was a movement of the roots towards the wick. So by producing the holes both sides of the plant, that should even the root system out. So all you need to do is roll this up into a little tube, pass it through the hole, through the bottom, and leave that there about 30mm below the top of the soil with this hanging out. Bear in mind that that's going to go into the tray, touch the bottom, and it'll probably bend up around about that much, and that'll happen both sides of the plant for each pot. That's what it looks like from the inside. It actually looks like some bunny ears. Anyway, I'm going to get these set up and then we can start putting the plants in. And now for the exciting part. As an interim, I'm going to put a piece of wood in the middle just as a bit of extra support, because the weight of the pots. I know wood and water don't mix. I think somewhere in the garage I've got some nylon bar, and what I'll do, I'll cut a couple of pieces there off to length, and that then won't rot in the water. But in the meantime, that should do the job. So there we have it, all done. 16 pots in total, 12 different varieties. I have had to double up on a couple because I didn't have enough different plants, but not to worry. Overall though, I'm very happy, mainly the way it's maximised the bench space. I know I could have bought proprietary wicking systems, but I'd had gaps here and there. With this, it's made full use for the space available. In fact, there's probably about 10-15mm to spare each end, and that's it. Regarding the reservoirs, these are nice and deep, and I'm hoping to get around about 3 to 4 weeks out of these before I have to fill them up. Obviously that will depend on the weather and temperature and that, but 3 to 4 weeks I'll be very happy. I've got a fallback system if not, because I've purchased a couple of little plastic ball float valves which I can put in there, and they will top up automatically with the water. Regarding the water, I've got an automatic system which travels all the way around the garden like a ring main, and there's pipes coming off there which go to the hanging baskets and the different troughs. And there's also a big main pipe comes into the greenhouse with a stop tap, and that then feeds another set of pipes under the benches, and each one of those have got drippers on which are individually controlled. So in an emergency I could actually put these in the pots and get them to feed and water the chilies if I want to, but hopefully we won't have to come there. And the other thing I could do is actually connect them up to the ball valves. I've not fitted the ball valves yet because, as I said, if this lasted 3 weeks I'm happy to keep them like this, and that's the reason also I've not actually joined the 2 tanks so it's one continuous. It does allow for me then to swap them around the greenhouse where space permits. So that's about it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got as much out of this as I have, and maybe it'll give you some ideas. You could possibly trim it, tittle it a bit to suit your needs. That's it. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.